Okay, guys, I will run through some of the, not all of them, some of the ones that you may have trouble with. Don't forget that your test is tomorrow. You may not use a graphing calculator, but you can use a small calculator. Those excluded values are very important, and I will be sending out the answers, or I should have already sent them out by now. So let's jump right in. I want to work number 5 and 6, and maybe, I don't know, maybe number 9. We'll just see. So, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip this. Okay, so now I want to go on and factor. Nothing cancels right now because we have binomials that are not the same. We have monomials that there's nothing in common. So what I'm going to do is on top I will factor out a 5. And on the bottom I'm going to factor out a negative 5. And the reason I want to do this, I see that they're awful close. And they are. So these cancel. Oopsie, I forgot this x. And also these cancel, except for that negative. So don't forget that negative. So that negative will come over and make it a negative 7x. So what can x not be? This is very important for the test. Anything in the denominator of the first fraction, and if you're dividing, it's anything in the second one. So it's easier to look at the factored form of it. And so I see that x can't be 0 and x can't be 4/3. That comes from anything in the second fraction. So this would be the complete answer. So, I changed my mind. I kind of want to work number 8. So number 8, I'm going to factor, and there's no flipping because there's no division. I'm going to take a 6 out here. I'm going to take a 2 out here. Yep. Notice what I am doing first every time. I am factoring. I'm also going to flip this order and take a negative 3 out. So it's p minus 2. Alright, so I'm still not done factoring. This turns into p minus 5 and p minus 2. This one turns into p minus 3 and p minus 5. So at no point have I crossed off anything. All I've done is factor everything. So now, I'm going to remove that and remove that. The reason I crossed those off, I already factored them. Now I'm going to cross off stuff. X minus 5, top and bottom. X minus 2, top and bottom. Binomials that are the same. And then we're left with, well, I'm not sure what else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply 6 and 5. 30 times p plus 1. On the bottom, multiply these two, negative 6, and then p minus 3. So what if you don't see that there's something else to reduce? When you get to the end, you should. 6 over negative 5, 6 over, holy smokes, 30 over negative 6 is a 5. And you can put that negative up, or you can put the negative out in front of the fraction. It doesn't matter. Something like that is good. And then let's go back and state what p cannot be. So we're not dividing, so we don't have to worry about this fraction of the whole fraction of the second term. So we just need to look across our denominator. So we have a 3, we have a 5, we have a 2. And those would be all my excluded, and these would be my simplified answer. Alright, so let's look at number 11. I think, hold on. Alright, number 11. So number 11, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to factor. Hey, again. I'm also going to move up this minus to make it a negative 3. It's just a little easier. I won't forget it. So my common denominator, because I'm adding here, is going to be 4, because between 2 and 4, 4 would be a common number. I could say 8, but 8's too big. And then p plus 3. So what's this fraction need to be like the LCD, essentially, but the common denominator? Well, it only has 2, so it needs 2 more. And p plus 3. So it's 5p times 2 times p plus 3 plus a negative 3 needs nothing. I didn't really need to write it like that. And it's over the common denominator, which is 4 and p plus 3. Do not cross off the p plus 3. You'd be undoing what you just did. So what I'm going to do now is work on the numerator. So this is 10p, and it'll distribute n. So 10p squared plus 30p minus 3 over 4p plus 3. So I don't know anything else because these, well, nope, nothing else there. Can't take out a 3, can't take out a 2. Nothing else on the denominator. And you don't state excluded values for this one. So let's look at 12. 12, I want to just touch on. The reason I want to touch on it is because I want you that when you see a subtraction, I want you to change the signs of everything on the numerator of the second fraction. The reason we want to do this is we want to remember to subtract everything, and it's a little easier this way. So the common denominator would be 6 and n plus 8. So I will let you look at my work to finish that problem out. Alright, so on the back, let's jump to some of these solving ones. Let's go to, 18 is a great one. We'll do 18 and 20. So, on 18, I want to, hey, you guessed it, factor again. I want to go ahead and move this sign up so I don't forget. And now my common denominator is the r plus 3 they all have and the r that's in front of this one. So now you look at the first fraction. These are worked differently. I don't show all my work here because I'm under the assumption that it should cancel with the denominator. So if I look at this first fraction, it has everything the CD does. So my numerator just gets to come down. My second one needs an r, so it's a negative 1r. I could write that better, but that's fine. Equals, this one needs the 7r also. Now we have a linear, it's an r, and we have a single r. So these cancel. 7r equals negative 4, so r equals negative 4 over 7. What I should have done is I should have stated something about what's excluded. So r shouldn't have been 0 or negative 3. And so if you notice that your excluded and your solution don't match, that's great news. That means that this is most likely a solution, and if I plugged it in, it should check out, and it does. You know what, I'm going to work 22, and then I'm going to add another complex fraction one and some extra space. So there's nothing in common, so b plus 6 and b plus 2, there's nothing to factor. Actually, technically, we could factor this, but I don't need to. It's unnecessary for that one, because nothing will cancel and nothing doesn't make it easier. So what's the first fraction need? It needs the b plus 2. The second fraction needs the b plus 6, and it's multiplying with 1. And then the last one needs both of them, so b plus 6 and b plus 2. So I'm going to work pretty fast. Well, you can at least pause the video if you really want to. Distributing these, hoping I don't make a mistake. And I'm going to shortcut this side. Alright, so now I start putting together like terms. 7b squared. Oh man, I hate these b's and 6's. So that's 21, 22. That's 14 and 6, 20. So we have a quadratic, and so I'm going to subtract b squared minus 8b minus 12. Subtract b squared minus 8b minus 12. Running out of room. 6b squared. What is that? Notice that they're all divisible by 2. Okay, so now I'm sliding and dividing. Ooh, not there, there. So b squared plus 7b plus 12. So b plus 3, b plus 4. Don't forget it's called slide and divide, so make sure you go back and divide by the 3. It's a very small space here. b plus 1, and then 3b plus 4, and there's the 2. But the 2 is not going to play any factor in it. So my solutions would be b equals -1 and -4/3. So let's go back to the excluded. So they're both my answer right now. So the excluded would be b cannot be -6 or -2. Not my excluded. I could take, these are easy answers to take and plug in and check out. So like it'd be 7 times -1 plus 7 over -1 plus, and you'd plug in -1 for everything. So let's add an extra complex fraction one. So an extra one, I'm making this up, so let's hope it's not too bad. Yeah, that's really bad. All right, so we could do this a couple ways. Why don't we do it the way we went over in class? So I'm going to do 7 over 2 minus 5 over 4x in parentheses divided by 3 over x plus 2. So I want to work on adding these two together. So this one just needs a 2x to be like this one. So I'd multiply 7 times 2x, so that's 14x minus 5 over the GCF. The common denominator would be 4x. So I multiplied this one by 2x. This one was good. So now I brought my two fractions together. That's what I wanted to do. I also want to go ahead and take this down, make it a multiplication. Remember our little rap video we watched? So now what we have is we are going to multiply straight across. So this is 12x. On top, I get 14x minus 5 times x plus 2. And honestly, I'm okay with you leaving that. If you really wanted to multiply that out, you could, but you do not have to. So, best of luck. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, so make sure you study really good so we don't have bad luck. And happy Thursday.